From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the afternoon news for September 12th, 2025. These are the stories we are covering at this hour. A suspect is in custody in connection with the Charlie Kirk shooting, and he's a 22-year-old from Utah. Authorities have identified the suspect as Tyler Robinson. According to the Associated Press, the official spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation. Tyler Robinson had become more political in the run-up to the shooting and had indicated to a family friend afterwards that he was responsible, said Utah Governor Spencer Cox. He also cited as key pieces of evidence engravings on bullets found in a rifle believed used in the attack, as well as chatting app messages attributed to the accused shooter that a roommate shared with law enforcement after the shooting. According to social media posts, Tyler was introduced to guns at a young age. His father, a retired law enforcement officer, is currently a minister. As for Tyler, he is a white, straight, cisgender, Christian conservative Trump supporter. Photos of Tyler as a youth holding guns are circulating on social media from his mother's account, which has since been made private. In other news, a radicalized 16-year-old Colorado school student fired a revolver and wounded 2 teens, authorities say. A 16-year-old boy who'd been radicalized by an unspecified extremist network fired a revolver multiple times during an attack at a suburban Denver high school that wounded 2 students, authorities said Thursday. Some students ran and others locked down during Wednesday's shooting at Evergreen High School in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. One of the victims was shot inside the school and another outside. The suspect in Evergreen, student Desmond Hulley, shot himself at the school and later died, said Jefferson County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Jackie Kelly. The county was also the scene of the 1999 Columbine High School massacre that killed 14 people. Historically black colleges have issued lockdown orders and canceled classes after receiving threats. A series of reported threats toward historically black colleges and universities across the United States on Thursday led to lockdown orders, canceled classes, and heightened security. Authorities did not elaborate on the type of threats that were made, and no injuries have been reported. The FBI told the Associated Press that they are taking the hoax threat calls seriously and that there is no information to indicate a current credible threat. Although lockdowns have since been lifted, schools that received the threats continue to act with an abundance of caution. In an era of mass shootings, as we shared in the previous 2 stories, and following a wave of violence Wednesday and a spate of hoax calls about active shooters at the start of the school year, some universities opted to call off classes for the rest of the week and send students home. U.S. Representative Troy Carter, a Democrat from Louisiana, called the threats reprehensible attacks and said that any threat made against HBCUs is a threat against us all. These attacks cannot be tolerated, minimized, or ignored, he said. They must be met with swift and decisive action. And in still other news, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer weathered backlash from Democrats earlier this year when he voted with Republicans to keep the government open. But he's now willing to risk a shutdown at the end of the month if Republicans don't accede to Democratic demands. Senator Schumer says he and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries are united in opposing any legislation that doesn't include key health care provisions and a commitment not to roll them back. He argues that the country is in a different place than it was in March when he vigorously argued against a shutdown, and he says he believes Republicans and President Donald Trump will be held responsible if they don't negotiate a bipartisan deal. And finally, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will visit Israel next week in a show of support for the country before the UN meets for what is expected to be a contentious debate on the creation of a Palestinian state, the State Department said Friday. Despite tensions between President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, notably over Israel's attack on Hamas leaders in Qatar, Rubio will arrive in Israel on Sunday for a 2-day visit. He is expected to travel to controversial archaeological sites in East Jerusalem, which the Palestinians claim for the capital of an eventual state. Rubio will be meeting on Friday with the Prime Minister of Qatar, whose nation, along with many others in the Arab world, has condemned Israel's strike on Hamas leaders in the Qatari capital of Doha. That's the news at this hour. And as we close out this newscast, our thoughts go out to the people impacted by political violence and mass shootings. Charlie Kirk's family, the students at the Utah Valley University, the historically black colleges and universities, and the students and families at Evergreen High School. Simply put, violence and violent threats are never the answer to society's problems. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.